Welcome everyone to this live podcast on Twitch where you can get the news from the research industry that how our researcher keep on researching on various topic and domains so we can get our lifestyle more better and more advanced. So let's get started without wasting any time. Uh, as I already discussed and told you that these articles are posted on our website named postscientist.com, featuring these articles basically and providing you the news to get you up to date from the research industry. Yes. Otherwise, listen to this podcast will be enough for you guys because it acts like an archive on the daily basis provided to you. Get to update from the research industry, of course. Okay, moving on towards first topic of the day. Novel season is here. 5 things to know about the prizes. The beginning of October means Nobel Prize season. 6 prizes, new faces from the around the globe, added to the world's most elite roster of scientists, writers, economists, and human rights readers. This year, Nobel season kicks off Monday with a medicine award, followed by daily announcements, physics on Tuesday, chemistry on Wednesday, and literature on Thursday. The 2022 Nobel Peace Prize will be announced on Friday and the Economics Award on October 10th. Here are 5 other things to know about the coveted prizes. Who created the Nobel Prizes? Hmm. The prizes in medicine, physics, chemistry, literature, and peace were established by the will of Alfred Nobel, a wealthy Swedish industrialist and the inventor of dynamite. The first award was handed out in 1901, 5 years about Nobel's death. Each prize is worth 10 million kronor, nearly 9 $900 million, and will be handed out with a diploma and a gold medal on December 10th, the date of the Nobel death in 1986. The Economics Award, officially known as the Bank of Sweden Prize in Economic Science in memory of Alfred Nobel, wasn't created by Nobel but by Swedish Central Bank in 1968. Okay. Between 1901 and 2021, the Nobel Prizes and the Prize in Economic Science have been awarded 609 times. Who knows who will win and why? Of course, the Nobel status prohibit the judges from discussing their deliberation for 50 years. So it's probably going to be a while before we know for sure how judges make their picks of 2022 and who was on their shortlist. The judges try hard to avoid dropping hints about the winners before the announcement, but sometimes word gets out. Bookies in Europe sometimes offer odds on possible Peace Prize and literature Nobel winners. Okay, who can nominate a candidate? Thousands of people around the world are eligible to submit nomination for the Nobel Prizes. They include university professors, lawmakers, previous Nobel laureates, and the community members themselves. Although the nominations are kept secret for 50 years, those who submit them sometimes announce their suggestion publicly, particularly for the Nobel Peace Prize. What about the Norwegian connection? Hmm. The Nobel Peace Prize is presented in Norway while the other awards are handed out in the Sweden. That's how Alfred Nobel wanted it. Okay, interesting. His exact his exact reason was are unclear, but during his lifetime, Sweden and Norway were joined in a union which was dissolved in 1905. Sometimes relations have been tense between the Nobel Foundation in Stockholm, which managed the prize money, and the firstly independent Peace Prize committee in Oslo. What does it take to win a Nobel? Yes, patience for one. Okay. Scientists often have to wait decades to have their work recognized by the Nobel judges who want to make sure then that any breakthrough withstands the test of time. That's departure from Nobel's will, which states that the award should endow those who during the preceding year shall have conferred the greatest benefit to mankind. The Peace Prize community is the only one that regularly rewards achievements made in the previous year. According to Nobel wishes, that prize should go to the person who shall have done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations, for the abolition or reduction of standing armies, and for the holding and promotion of peace congresses. Yes, of course. So these are the things you have to consider or you have to know about the Nobel season or Nobel Prize winners, Nobel Prize candidates. Okay. Moving on towards next topic. Our cities are warming and urban greenery could help. Okay, let's see. Cities worldwide are warming zero point 0.5 degrees Celsius on average per decade, 29% faster than in rural areas. According to an article published online in Communication Earth and Environment, the findings suggest that climate change and urban expansion are accelerating urban surface warming. Planting trees and vegetation in cities, also known as urban greening, is reported to offset about 0.13 degrees Celsius of surface warming per decade in European cities. People who live in cities experience greater heat exposure during heat wave events than the general population due to the urban heat islands effect, in which urban land gets hotter than surrounding rural land. Climate change and population growth in cities are projected to increase the surface urban heat island effect, but many current estimates of future human heat exposure assume equal rates of surface temperature increase between rural and urban areas. Urban greening is suggested to reduce surface warming, but whether it can show the accelerating surface urban heat islands effect remains unclear. Wenfeng Zhang and colleagues analyzed satellite land surface temperature data for over 2,000 city centers worldwide between 2002 and 2021 and compared them to background rural surface temperature very large megacities such as Abuja in Nigeria, Phoenix in the US, London in the UK, Sao Paulo in Brazil, Beijing in China, and Moscow in Russia were included in the analysis. The author estimates that cities are warming 29% faster than rural areas and the mega cities are warming even more quickly. Overall, the estimates that climate change is the largest contributor to urban surface warming, increasing land surface temperature by 0.3 degrees Celsius per decade on average. In China and India, they estimated the urban expansion was responsible for over 0.23 degrees Celsius of the observed surface warming in cities per decade. Okay. The author estimates the sites are warming 29% faster than rural areas and the mega city are warming even more quickly. Overall, they estimate the climate change is the largest contributor to urban surface warming, increase the land surface temperature by 0 to sorry guys. However, the authors also found that urban greening in European cities offset 0.13 degrees Celsius of the surface warming per decade, indicating the potential of urban vegetation to slow down surface warming in cities. For example, increased urban greening in Chicago, US was found to decrease the rates of surface warming by about 0.084 degrees Celsius per decade. Okay, I guess there need to be understand those things, otherwise it's a very big disaster between countries to countries. And yes, It's not about the cities, mega cities who are warming it up or those kind of things. You are the guys focusing on the overall development of the UK, on the European Union and the US, not the developing countries, and never think that India and China is a developed country. Not for sure, not for sure. Don't ever think like this, because I mean, we know the reality, we know here, we know we know our cities, we know our carbon emissions, we know everything. So it's better to have industrialization on the developing countries. So don't argue or don't lecture on something that like that, and please don't have any propaganda like it. It's a necessary thing. And if you are going to have analytic data, we will provide it to you. We also provide the analytic data on the research. We only provide it, but please don't do it. Otherwise, it's going to be very harm to you. Really, it's an interesting thing. Okay, moving on towards next topic. Simulation to visual cortex could reduce hallucination in blind patient. Okay, let's see. Using a non-invasive stimulation on the brain may be effective in reducing the frequency of visual hallucination in blind patients. A new study has found a technique called transcranial direct current stimulation (TDDCS) has been trialed on patients by researcher at Newcastle University and King's College London. As part of the 18-month study, the technique involves passing a weak electric current between electrodes placed on a person's scalp and has been found to change activity levels in certain areas of the brain. Exciting findings. Previous research suggests that loss of information from the eyes result is increased spontaneous activity in the visual cortex, which contributes to the occurrence of visual hallucination in Charles Bonnet syndrome (CBS). The study aimed to use TDCS to reduce this activity and return it to normal levels. The result from the study, which has been published in Ophthalmology, have shown that the simulation may reduce the frequency of visual hallucination in people with CBS, particularly individuals who have increased spontaneous activity levels in the visual parts of the brain. Dr. John Paul Taylor from Newcastle University Faculty of Medical Science said CBS, where people experience visual hallucination, is a common experience for people who develop eye disease and visual loss. We don't we don't unfortunately have any good treatment for CBS, and drugs which are typically used are often associated with the significant side effects. We are excited by the initial findings that using a form of non-invasive brain stimulation, which was well tolerated and can be delivered in a person on home, may reduce the frequency of visual hallucination for people with the CBS. Our next steps are to conduct a larger multi-center trial to prove whether this treatment is truly effective and can be used clinically. Dr. Dominic Fitch from the Institute of Psychiatry at King's College London added CBS can be considered a normal response of the brain to loss of vision. Once you know what it is, most people don't need specific treatment, but for those that do, this study provides the first glimpse of what treatment might look like in the future. It's not a cure. CBS did not stop completely for anyone, but by reducing how often hallucination occurs, the hope is we can shift CBS from a highly distressing and unpleasant experience to something that no longer troubles you. Distressing hallucination. Serious hallucinations are experienced by up to half of all people with macular disease. They can be simple unformed flash of light, colors or space, color or shapes, while many people also see geometric grids and lattices. Other people have reported seeing more complex visual experiences, including dis- disembodied heads, small figures in elaborate costumes, and snakes. Around one third of people with CBS report that hallucinations can be distressing and cause disruption to their daily lives. In the study, 16 people diagnosed with CBS who have recurrent visual hallucination received 4 consecutive days of active and placebo treatment with non-invasive stimulation to the visual parts of the brain. The study finding highlights that the TDCS may improve to be the feasible option for patients with CVS with no significant side effects. However, further work will be required before it can consider for wider clinical use. So these are the findings given by the simulation according to the CBS drug which was provided to the patients, and that how it's responsible for the hallucination for the patient in this drug, and half of the people and many other disabilities of this drug. Okay, so moving on towards next topic, builder of quantum computers, open research and development faculty in Boulder. Interesting. Right. Let's see. Atom Computing, a California-based startup that builds quantum computers, opened its largest research and development faculty in Boulder on Wednesday. The new location marks a win of Colorado growing quantum industry, which is centered around the Denver Boulder area. Other players in the market include Boulder-based Cold Quanta, Quantum Corporation in Inglewood, and Quantenum, a result of merger between Honeywell Quantum Solution in Broomfield and UK-based Cambridge Quantum. Okay, quantum computing is not only garnering more attention in the eyes of public investors are opening their checkbooks to the burgeoning industry. It attracted almost twice as much capital in 2020 and 2021, $2.5 billion, than it had over the previous 10 years combined, $1.16 billion, according to the Boston Consulting Group. Adam Boulder faculty will serve as the development site of future generation of quantum computing system. CEO Rob Hayes said his company decided on the Centennial State for his talents and quantum expertise over the next 3 years. He expects to spend 100 billion in Colorado as the company boosts hiring efforts. The addition of atom computing helps further position Colorado as an economic leader for the next big wave of technology development and will create more good paying jobs for Coloradans, said government Jared Polis, who attended the Wednesday ribbon cutting event. Polis described Boulder as already one of the world's most booming centers for the quantum computing sector. IBM defines quantum computing a rapidly emerging technology that harnesses the laws of quantum mechanics to solve problems too complex for classical computers. Of course, laser solar cells, atomic clocks for GPS and MRI scanners are all examples of technology that use quantum mechanics. Hmm. Atom scientific advisors Jun Ye, who is also a physics professor at the University of Colorado Boulder, foresees more opportunity for Colorado students to lead the next wave of innovation in quantum research and the market. He called recent Colorado University graduates even trailblazers of the rapidly growing quantum industry. On top of Yi, CU claims other prominent research in the quantum physics field, such as Professor Margaret Murnan, Henry Captain, and Noah Flinkiston. Atom founder and CTO Ben Boom, who graduated from CU Boulder, added, "We are committed to Colorado, established in 2018, Atom Computing in headquartered in Berkeley Cliff Berkeley, California, north of Silicon Valley, where many of the globe technology giants call home. Okay, okay, great, interesting. So these companies, or these are the people, are again building like a Silicon Valley, again building a quantum technology, a hub of quantum technology. So great, great, great initiative, of course. Moving on towards next topic. Researcher developed humanoid robotic system to teach Tai Chi. Okay, let's see. Zi Zhang robot is skilled at Tai Chi, and her research team hope it will soon lead a class of older adults at a local community center. Her robot is more than a cute companion. It can help improve cognitive function and provide insight about how people interact with robots in various settings. Zhang, an assistant professor of biomedical engineering in RIT Kate's Glinson College of Engineering, developed a sophisticated humanoid robot as a part of assistive technology research. With expertise in developing robotics and visual reality systems, Zhang work explored human machine intelligence. She is a part of larger RIT, a cross-disciplinary team using artificial intelligence, AI, and robotics to design assistive technology that can impact mental health care. My major result my major research direction is for individuals with developmental disorders. Many core technologies are transferable to other populations, such as older adults with mild cognitive impairment, said Zhang, who lead the Intelligent Interaction Research Lab. The lab is focused on several funded technology mediated initiatives, including healthcare for older adults with multi-chronic condition, and intervention for the individual with autism spectrum disorder (ASD). The Tai Chi leader is a now robot, and although only about 2 feet tall, it is highly sophisticated system that can be programmed with specific function and task. We don't have to build our own robot hardware because are good commercial platform available. How it behaves slowly depends on how we design the control programs. The central part of our research is how we control the robot to do cognitive physical instruction properly. Zhang said the robot does not really know how to behave coming out of the box. We teach it how to function. So basically, these are the outsourcing company providing uh, teach you that the robot, the Tai Chi practice into that robot. And yes, for the older adults and the childrens out there, of course. So I mean, great, great, outsourcing everything and just focusing on the how it's going to be the function. Okay, teaching a Tai Chi was one of those functions. Hmm. A popular mind body exercise, Tai Chi, consists of choreographed motion, meditation, and proper breathing. Different movements require the practitioner to rely on many cognitive functions such as working memory and visual spatial processing to memorize the pattern and gestures. Movement stimulates blood flow through the brain, and for older adults, this has been shown to be beneficial to longevity and memory and learning. Using robots as facilitators is a growing research field, and Zhang has seen movement from lab based work to community based field studies. Okay, interesting. There is a big difference. Everything in the lab is controlled, and people can be nervous and cautious. Of course, that's a basic danger, or basic adaptability. Basically, it's not easy for the people to adapt easily for such a complex robot or sophisticated robot that does not rely reflect their natural reactions, she said. Now the field is trying to understand and study what if we move the technology out of the engineering building to community center. For example, people are relaxed and their reaction will be more natural using new technology. Of course, technology has to be easily controlled by non-experts that relates to our interface design. We want our robot to be operated by a leader or a social worker at the community center because technology is designed to serve people. It has to fit in the community. Of course, some on site work was paused for a short time during the pandemic but has since resumed, with Zhang leading a research team that includes Victor Perotti, a professor in Saunders College of Business, Yang Tai Wang, Dean of the College of Health Science and Technology, Peter Bajorski, Professor of Statistics in the College of Science. Wang brings more than 20 years of experience instructing and practicing Tai Chi, and Boruski has worked previously with Zhang on a separate Department of Health and Human Science grant to measure aspect of ADHD, coupled with research in the area of theory of mind, the study of human robot interaction, and the effectiveness of using robots as research facilitators. The team combined psychology and interpersonal communication with application built on human centered artificial intelligence, one of RIT key research areas. I think of myself as a user and builder of artificial intelligence because I design many on system framework, my own algorithms. Those are more elemental in the AI spectrum, she said, and I look to the other people work to add to my research. I am standing on the shoulders of giants. Okay, okay, interesting, interesting. Moving on towards next topic, as it's already been described well, so no need for explanation or short summary about the last article. Moving on towards next topic, effective calculation methods suggested for large caliber magnetic field immunity testing. Interesting. Let's see. With a reasonable effective calculation method, physicists from the Hefei Institute of Physical Science of the Chinese Academy of Science have calculated the maximum allowable offset of simulation position and angle migration under the premise of many variables. Result were published. Were revealed in IEEE transactions on industrial electronics. Okay. The research group was led by Professor Gao Yi and Jiang Li. They studied the effects of coil offset on the performance of the large caliber magnetic field immunity testing system of the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor ITER. The magnetic field around the tokamak device plays an important role in the safe operation of magnetically sensitive equipment. Different intensity will affect the normal operation of device and equipment. As one of the effective ways to solve the strong magnetic compatibility test, the large caliber magnetic field immunity testing system has attracted much research attention. The test device is magnetic field generation. The system as one of the effective ways to solve magnetic compatibility tests, the large caliber magnetic field immunity testing system has attracted much research attention. The test device is a magnetic field generation system composed of multiple coils. The coil offset during design and installation will change the magnetic field performance of the internal test area. We have built an experimental platform, said Huang Yang, a first author of the study, to investigate the relationship between the coil offset and magnetic field performance. The researchers conducted an in-depth study on 18 degree of freedom offset of three groups of coils. After studying the influence of single multiple variables, they improved the calculation method from the law of magnetic field distribution data and completed the fast calculation of maximum allowable offset under multiple parameters, and the experimental result verified the correctness of the theoretical analysis. The factor they studied included a large diameter magnetic field, withstanding test device, and errors caused by coil offset to the magnetic field uniformity. They propose a reasonable method to determine the allowable deviation of the equipment coils. Aside from that, they summarize a set of novel formulas. These formulas provide a theoretical basis for the actual installation. Moving on towards the next topic, Japan to pay up to three $320 million for US companies' chip production. Japan is providing a major use chip maker a subsidy of up to 46.6 billion yen, 30, $322 million to support its plan to produce advanced memory chips at a Hiroshima factory. The Japanese trade minister said Friday the announcement to subsidize Micron technology on the heels of the US Vice President Kamala Harris' visit in Japan as the two countries step up cooperation on expanding manufacturing and supply chain for critical materials. I hope the deal will contribute to further expansion of cooperation between Japan and the United States in the area of semiconductors. Japan Economy and Trade Minister Yasu- Yasutoshin Nishimura said. He said the government approved the deal Friday under a law related to economic security. Japan has set up to its own fund to support semiconductor production, and Friday's agreement is its third deal. During her trip to Asia this week, Harris met with Japanese officials and semiconductor companies executives to seek greater cooperation in strengthening semiconductor development and production amid China growing influence. Micron was among the companies that participated in the meeting with Harris, along with Tokyo Electron, Nikon, Hitachi, Hitachi High-Tech Group, Fujitsu Limited. Micron said in a statement it will use the subsidy to strengthen production capacity and speed up development of the company 1 beta DRAM, DRAM memory chips that are key to advanced data facilities as well as technology for 5G network upgrade and artificial intelligence. The United States is working to solidify its technology cooperation with China, South Korea, and Taiwan while trying to increase its domestic semiconductor manufacturing amid China's own investment in computer chips. The deal Friday symbolizes the investment and integration of our two economies and supply chain, said US Ambassador to Japan Ram Emanuel, who has been promoting economic security between the two allies, and that will only accelerate from here forward. Okay. Nishimura has stressed the US Japan alliance on semiconductor energy and other areas. Japan was once a world leader in computer chip manufacturing, but its status was eroded over the last 2 decades, and the country is increasingly worried about falling behind. Japan has allocated for 476 billion yen, 3.3 billion in subsidies for a new factory in Japan southern prefecture of Kunamoto being built in a partnership between the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, Sony Group, and Denso Corporation. Japan is also providing up to 92.9 billion yen, $644 million to another faculty in central Japan, Mia Prefecture, jointly built by Western Digital Corporation and Kyo- Kyozia Corporation. Okay. Moving on towards the next topic. Yes, new 3D printing method promises faster printing with multiple materials. Hmm. Let's see. Advancement in 3D printing have made it easier for designer and engineer to customize projects, create physical prototypes at different scale, and produce structure that can't be made with more traditional manufacturing techniques. But technology still faces limitation. The process is slow and requires specific material, which for the most part must be used one at a time. Researchers at Stanford have developed a method of 3D printing that promises to create prints faster using multiple types of resin is a single object. Their design, published recently in Science Advances, is 5 to 10 times faster than the quickest high resolution printing method currently available, and could potentially allow researchers to use thicker resins with better mechanical and electrical properties. This new technology will help to fully realize the potential of 3D printing, says Joseph D. Simon, the Sanjeev Sam Gambhir Professor in translational medicine and professor of radiology and of chemical engineering at Stanford and corresponding author on the paper. It will allow us to print much faster, helping to usher in a new area of digital manufacturing as well as to enable the fabrication of complex material objects in a single step. Controlling the flow of resin, the new design improves on a method of 3D printing created by D. Simon and his colleagues in 2015 called Continuous Liquid Interface Production or clip printing. Looks into it belongs in a science fiction movie. A rising platform smoothly pulls the object, seemingly fully formed from a thin pool of resin. The resin at the surface is hardened into the right shape by sequence of UV images projected through the pool, while a layer of oxygen prevents curing at the bottom of the pool and creates a dead zone where the resin remains in liquid form. The dead zone is the key of clip speed. As the solid piece rises, the liquid resin is supposed to fill in behind it, allowing for smooth, continuous printing, but it does not allow always happen, especially if its piece rises too quickly or the resin is particularly vicious. With this new method called injection clip or eye clip, the researchers have mounted syringe pumps on the top of the rising platform to add additional resin at key points. The resin flow in clip is a very passive process. You are just pulling the object up and hoping that suction can bring a material to the area where it's needed, says Gabriel Lipwardsky, a PhD student in mechanical engineering at Stanford and lead author on the paper. With this new technology, we actively inject resin onto the areas of printer where it's needed. The resin is delivered through conduits that are printed simultaneously with the design. The conduits can be removed after the object is completed, or they can be incorporated into the design the same way that veins and arteries are built into our own body. Multi material printing. By injecting additional resin separately, iClip presents the opportunity to print with multiple types of resin over the course of the printing process. Each new resin simply requires its own syringe. The researchers tested the printer with as many as three different syringes, each filled with the resin dyed a different color. They successfully printed models of famous buildings from several countries in the color of each country flags, including Saint Sophia Cathedral in the blue and yellow of the Ukrainian flag, and Independence Hall in American red, white, and blue. The ability to make objects with variegated material or mechanical properties is a holy grail of 3D printing. Lipotsky says the application range from very efficient energy absorbing structure to objects with different optical properties and advanced sensors. Having successfully demonstrated that iClip has the potential to print with multiple resins, DeSimone, Lipotsky, and their colleagues are working on software to optimize the design of the fluid distribution network for each printed piece. They want to ensure that designers have fine control over the boundaries between resin types and potential speed up the printing process even further. A designer shouldn't have to understand fluid dynamics to print an object extremely quickly. Lipovsky says, "We are trying to create efficient software that can take apart that a designer wants to print and automatically generate not only the distributed network but also determine the flow rates to administer different resin to achieve a material goal." Okay, moving on towards next topic. I am running very fast because I have to cover lots of articles today. So please stick to it and enjoy it. I guess uh, any other input will be provided by me if it's necessary. Otherwise, I will uh, fasting covering those articles. Okay, so uh, yes, world largest flow battery energy storage station connected to grid. The 100 megawatt Dalian flow battery energy storage peak shaving power station with the largest power and capacity in the world so far was connected to the grid in Dalian, China on September 29, and it will be put in operation in mid October. This energy storage project is supported technically by Professor Li Xingfang from the Dalian Institute of Chemical Physics DICP of the Chinese Academy of Science, and this system was built and integrated by Rongke Rongki Power Co. Limited. The Dalian Flow Battery Energy Storage Peak Shaving Power Station was approved by the Chinese National Energy Administration in April 2016 as the first national large-scale chemical energy storage demonstration project approved. It will eventually produce 200 megawatt hours of electricity. The first phase of on-grid power station project is 100 megawatt, 400 megawatt, based on China average daily live electricity consumption of 2 kilo megawatt per capita. The power station can meet the daily electricity demand of 200,000 residents, thus reducing the pressure on the power supply during peak periods and improving power supply and reliability in the southern region of Dalian. Energy storage technology can help power systems achieve the strain and response capability needed after large scale access to the power grid. It also particularly important in facilitating the use of renewable energy, which is a key to helping China achieve its carbon peak and carbon neutrality goals, but is not always accessible due to variation in winds and sunlight, etc. The Dalian flow battery energy storage peak having shaving power station, which is based on vanadium flow battery energy storage technology developed by DICP, will serve as the city power bank and plays the role of peak cutting and valley filling across the power system, thus helping Dalian make use of renewable energy such as wind and solar energy. These renewable energy sources will be used to charge the station batteries during the grid load valley period by converting electrical energy into battery stored chemical energy later at the peak grid load. The stored chemical energy will be converted back into electrical energy and transferred to users. The station energy storage technology uses vanadium ions of various valence states. Electrical energy and chemical energy are converted back and forth through redox reactions of these ions in the positive and negative electrodes, thus releasing large scale storage and the release of electrical energy. This technology is promising in large scale energy storage application because of excellent safety, good reliability, large output power and storage capacity, long life, good cost performance, use of recyclable electrolytes, and environmental friendliness. Additionally, this technology can work with conventional thermal power, nuclear power, and other power sources, providing peak regulation and frequency regulation for the power system as well as improving its flexibility. The Dalian flow and battery energy storage, peak shaving power station will improve the renewable energy grid connection ratio, balance the stability of the power grid, and improve the reliability of the power grid, thus serving as a model for electricity, peak shaving, and renewable energy grid management in China. Hmm. Moving on towards next topic, sorry, next news. Powerful earthquake shakes Indonesia, Sumatra kills one. Sad. A strong and shallow earthquake shook Indonesia's Sumatra Island on Saturday, killing a resident, injuring 11, and damaging more than a dozen houses, a building police said. The magnitude 5.9 earthquake struck about 40 km 24.8 miles northeast of Sibolga, a coastal city in North Sumatra province, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. It was 13 km 8 miles deep. The pre-dawn earthquake was followed by two 5.0 magnitude aftershocks. A 62-year-old man died of a heart attack while fleeing to safety in Tarungtong village, which is closest to the epic center, said local police chief Johnson Sintru. 11 people have been injured and at least 15 houses and buildings damaged in the village, he said. Were still investigating the full extent of the damage. A footage released by the National Disaster Mitigation Agency showed several residents evacuating an injured person by van to a hospital while panicked voices cried for help. The agency also showed several people receiving treatment and walls cracked by the earthquake. Indonesia, a vast archipelago of more than 270 million people, is frequently struck by earthquake, volcanic eruption, and tsunamis because of its location on the rings of fire, an arc of volcanoes and fault lines in the Pacific Basin. In February, a magnitude 6.2 earthquake killed at least 25 people and injured more than 460 in West Sumatra province. In January 2021, a magnitude 6.2 earthquake killed more than 100 people and injured nearly 6,500 in West Sulawesi province. A powerful Indian Ocean quake and tsunamis in 2004 killed nearly 230,000 people in dozens of countries, most of them in Indonesia. Right. Moving on towards next topic. Discovery of new microscopic species expand the tree of life. The tree of life. Hmm. Scientists have discovered several very rare species of microorganisms, some of which have never been seen before and others which have escaped the curious eye of scientists for over the 100 years. The discovery of these elusive species, published in the scientific journal Protist, was made by an unconventional duo who never met in person. Professor Geneva Esteban of Bonn Bournemouth University and James Weiss, an independent scientist operating in his private lab in Warsaw, Poland, with his two cats. Their approach to science and unearthing of the new and rare organism will help scientists and the public learn more about life at a microscopic level. They also hope it will inspire thousands of young people into science and prove the importance of microscopic life to everyone on the planet. Microorganisms are made up by of only one cell and are at the bottom of the food chain. They live all around us and can be found in any habitat, from small poodles to vast ocean. There is still a great deal to discover about them. Biodiversity at a microscopic level is not widely understood as other areas of nature, despite the fact the whole ecosystem depends on it, explained Professor Esteban. Some of the species are completely new and others have not been seen for over a century. We documented many curious behavior on them and carried out DNA analysis of them for the first time. This means we can understand more about the relationship with other microbes and find new branches for them on the tree of life. Professor Esteban continued. The very rare and new organisms include Legendria, Lovisia, Professor Esteban said, "We don't know. We don't know what this organism is named after. The 100 plus years old French description doesn't include the origin of the name, but we suspect that it was after a person since Legendre is a common French surname. They have also discovered a new locus, meaning having irregular edges due to serrated appearance of the cell edges, as well as a new epitotos pathula, meaning ventral mouth opening. The new species have not assigned names yet, but Weiss is hoping to name them with contemporary fictional references that will attract the attention of people of all ages. Most organisms on the tree of life are microscopic. In fact, most life on Earth has always been microscopic. Microorganisms were the first predators on Earth. Their greedy appetites were one of the leading factors of the evolution of more complex life in the early ages of Earth. West explained. As prey developed better defenses, predators needed to develop better ways of catching them. After the evolution of multicellular complex life, they become the main food source for other such as krill and plankton, which is turn are food for larger species if the organism at the very bottom were removed. All other parts of the food chain above them would collapse too, he added. The duo worked together for the course of 18 months and investigated thousands of samples from water bodies, mainly from Poland, but also all over the world. We knew that no one else would be looking for these, and no other research into microbes has involved such intensive searching, said Professor Esteban. As with all forms of wildlife, spotting the more you look, the more you find. By taking so many samples almost every day, we knew we could find something new. The more we know about the microscopic world, the more we can learn about the rest of the habitats where all other forms of life survive. After isolating the microorganism in each example, they were able to study their DNA and identify those that were new to science and other which are extremely real, and they needed a specialist. Dr. Deventra Andro, a molecular ecologist at Bournemouth University, also brought her expertise to the team. Moving on towards next topic, researcher reveals quantitative and high resolution pressure functions of pressure sensitive material. Researcher from Nagyo University in central Japan have published a study in the Journal of Material Chemistry C on on a pressure sensitive material known as fluoroanilidine acridine FA. Their research has potential application for technology related to pressure sensing, recording, and display devices. Mech, mechanochromic material change color in response to external stimuli such as mechanical pressure. However, previous research on mechanochromism was limited to qualitative reports such as whether the color change. Until now, quantitative analysis was missing. To quantitatively describe the color change, a research team led by Professor Yu- Yutaka Matsuo at the Department of Chemical System Engineering, graduate student of engineering, Nagoya University, analyzed FA, one type of mech- mechanochromic material. Conducting several tests on material containing FA, they found that it changed color from yellow to dark green when touched, but unlike other mechanochromic materials, instead of changing color by emitting light, it changed color by observing it. This makes it unique. Previously, the mechanochromic behavior of Fa was usually observed in power form. However, for their current study, the research team first fabricated a thin film of Fa, which allowed them to implement the subsequent measurement. Next, to qualify color changes, researchers applied measurement techniques called diffuse reflectance ultraviolet visible uh, UV visible spectroscopy. In addition to indirectly measure the structural changes of Fa, they use Kelvin force microscopy, increasing mechanical pressure, gradually change the color from yellow to green. Okay. Additionally, the more pressure applied, the more the Fa structure changed. These data clarified the quantitative relationship between the amount of mechanical pressure and the extent of color change of a Fa containing material. This is the first report of Fa using quantitative data. The researcher measurement also revealed that Fa has a high spatial resolution. The Fa film detected pressure applied over a width as small as 50 nanometer, making the spatial resolution 1000 times better than other commercially available pressure sensing films. Furthermore, when treated with ethanol, the film color turned black to yellow, sorry, back to yellow. Okay, this is important because to reverse the color change, previous studies had only used strong solvents such as chloroform, but now widely available solutions such as alcohol can be used with this technology. Quantitative measurement of Fa opens many possibilities for technologies such as disk storage, optical disc devices such as CDs and DVDs use laser light to write data. Professor Mitsio said we could utilize color changes after mechanical pressure to store information. He continued. Moreover, the measurement techniques for Fa from this study may apply to other types of mechanochromic materials in addition to Fa. This means that this study could also contribute to future research in pressure sensing technology. Finally, color can tell us whether a material surface has been touched and whether it has been wiped with alcohol afterwards. This could have implication for keeping surface areas clean. It is now possible to imagine, for example, a further table changing color when touched and then wiped clean, a technology that would be valuable in a hospital or other environment seeking to prevent the transmission of viruses by contact with contaminated surfaces. Hmm. Okay, the last topic of the day, I guess. Uh, I know we have lots of articles to cover, but I mean, my energy is so low that I can't read more. So, last topic of this podcast: machine learning may enable bioengineering of the most abducted enzyme on the planet. A Newcastle University study has for the first time shown that machine learning can predict the biological properties of the most abducted enzyme on Earth, ribisco 1 5 bits of fate carboxylase oxygenase is responsible for providing carbon for almost all life on Earth. Ribisco function by converting atmospheric CO2 from the Earth's atmosphere to organic carbon matter, which is essential to sustain most life on Earth. For some time now, natural variation has been observed among Ribisco protein of plants, and modeling studies have shown that transplanting Ribisco proteins with a certain functional properties can increase the amount of atmospheric CO2 crop plants can uptake and store. Study lead author Wasim Iqbal, a PhD research at Newcastle University School of Natural and Environmental Science, part of Dr. Masim Kraplov groups, developed a machine learning tool which can predict the performance properties of numerous land plant Rubisco proteins with surprising good accuracy. The hope is that this tool will enable to hunt for a supercharged Rubisco protein that can be bioengineered into major crops such as wheat. Published in the Journal of Experimental Botany, the study prevents a useful tool for screening and predicting plant riboscope kinetics, for engineering and efforts, as well as for fundamental studies on riboscope evolution and adaptation screening. The natural diversity of riboscope kinetics is the main strategy used to find better riboscopes for crop engineering efforts. Wasim said that their study will have huge implication for climate models and bioengineering crops. This study provides plant biologists with a pre-screening tool for highlighting rubisco species exhibiting better kinetics for crop engineering efforts. The machine learning tool can be used to improve accuracy of global photosynthesis estimates. The rubisco performance properties are model predicts are compatible with Earth System Model (ESM) used by climate scientists. Currently, ESM use a single set of Rubisco properties from from the same species or sometimes a handful for estimating photosynthesis at the ecosystem's scale. Our machine learning tool could provide prediction for most plants, improving the accuracy of ESMs. Next step of the work include isolating the best Rubisco proteins, identify from prediction in the lab, and attempting to bioengineer a plant species with the foreign Rubisco protein. Okay, these are the things, these are the research industry articles provided to you guys today. And yes, I know there are many more articles in the lined up, but sorry guys, I will be provide those information in the next podcast, so don't worry, it will be covered. You can also read it in our website, of course, but if you want in the podcast, please be bear with my energy. Okay. As I already previously discussed on the podcast in the previous podcast, that we have started a newsletter providing you the information that is not easily available on the surface web, and it will be provided to you guys, and it will be necessity, and how it will affect in your life, in your personal life, maybe in the few months, maybe in the upcoming year. So it will be going to affect in your policymakers, in your things. So these those kind of, if you want those kind of information, so subscribe to this newsletter, otherwise leave it. We will provide this information on our website, which is easily provided by everyone. So in the end, I just want to say, keep researching, stay curious, stay healthy.